One of the main reasons I'm really excited to be an official beautiful baller is because when I grew up, I really struggled with my self-esteem. Like, it took a long time for me to consider myself beautiful. Hi guys, it's Kai, and it feels so good to finally say welcome to my YouTube channel. First off, I want to thank you guys for 100 subscribers. I really appreciate it. This YouTube channel has been a long time coming. I really have been like just so scared of starting a YouTube channel, and I don't know why, but now that y'all are subscribed, you can officially say that you're day one. Okay, so these first few videos are going to be a series of get to know me, story time type videos. I'm going to talk about what it was like growing up with the hearing loss. I'm going to talk about my experience as a D1 athlete, my freshman year experience at Oregon State, self-esteem, literally so much. I don't want my intro to be too long. To it, grab your snack, grab your makeup, whatever you're doing, grab it, and let's get into it. Just to start off a little bit about myself, I was born September 7th, 2000 in Houston, Texas, but I kind of grew up in SoCal. It's been me and my mom since I was 3. We first moved to Long Beach. We first moved to Long Beach Elementary School and found out about my hearing loss in the 3rd grade. They told me I had a 50 decibel hearing loss, which is basically 50% hearing loss in both ears. They said that I should wear these hearing aids. They're these big, chunky hearing aids with these thick tubes, and very obvious. When you have a hearing loss at a young age, the only option you really have is to wear the behind the ear hearing aids, which are the most visible. Because your ears are still growing and you would have to get a new ear mold done every 6 months, the doctors don't allow you to get fitted for the invisible hearing aids until you're an adult. I didn't want to wear those. I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to be different from my peers, especially at that age. You know, all you want to do is just like be like everybody else. And I was no different. They also gave me this thing called an FM system, and it was like kind of like a speaker that went directly into my hearing aids that I had to give to my teachers so that I could hear them over a loud classroom, because you know, elementary kids are a little rowdy. But yeah, it was just a hassle, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll have to do this. Nowadays though, hearing aids are so cool. You can't really tell you can't really tell that I'm wearing them, You can't tell that I'm wearing them unless you're really staring and you know I have my hair up. But they're like, hold on, this is what they look like now. I don't have them in because I'm filming, and these Bluetooth, they're basically like glorified AirPods. You can listen to music on them, you can answer phone calls on them. There's just like so much, like they're just so much cooler nowadays. Back then, you literally just put the battery in and turn the volume up and down. Like that's all you could really do. So I still wore them no matter how much I hated it. And I ended up winning this award called Most Inspiring Student. They gave it to a student every year at the school, like at the whole elementary school, and it didn't matter what class you're in. It was pretty cool. Like I went to this dinner. I fell asleep at the dinner though, because it's like, why would you hold a dinner at 10 o'clock at night for a bunch of elementary school kids? That's my bedtime. I was like, hey, they're gonna give me an award for not being able to hear. I'll take it. Despite my hearing loss, I was very passionate about pretty much everything art. I started playing piano when I was 6 or 7. I started playing violin when I was 8. I started playing guitar when I was around 10. And I joined this kids theater group, and I made my debut as a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz. And that's when I realized I loved everything art. When I got to middle school, I still played about 4 instruments. I played trumpet, violin, viola, and guitar. I was really active in the school theater department as well. I was in choir. I was in all these things. Like I loved art. Like it's just, I still do. It's just, you know, we'll get there. Outside of being a total geek, I was actually pretty athletic. I know it didn't seem like that much of a flex, but I was like really good at kickball. Like always getting picked first good. I was also the second fastest runner in the class. I realized how much I loved being active around the 6th grade. So that's when I started to try a bunch of different sports. I first tried soccer. And before I even joined the team, I already had mixed feelings about it because I knew I hated running. Like
long distance running for long amounts of time. No, that wasn't my forte.
And I told them that. I was like, you know, I'll be on this team, but I'm only willing to play goalie. I'm not willing to be in the field. I still hated it because we were outside and my hair just kept getting frizzy. And I was like, it's so hard being a girl. Oh my gosh. The second sport I tried was basketball. Go figure, I'm a tall black girl. Why wouldn't I try basketball? Hated that too. It was just the running for me. I didn't think it would be that bad because, you know, it's like, it's not that far, like court wise. Like it's not that far in feet from like inline. Running back and forth is not that far. Just the amount of times they do it. No. Plus the girls were way too aggressive. I had braids, right? You know, box braids. One of the girls pulled my braids out. And my braid is just like there on the court, in the middle of the court for everyone to see. And I'm just like, this is actually my last straw. Like, I don't want to do this. Is that a normal thing? No. So the third sport I tried was volleyball. Now, volleyball was absolutely perfect for me. And I will say the only reason I tried volleyball was because they had the cutest uniform. Sue me, I was 12. But really, I fell in love with volleyball. I just love that, you know, it was an indoor sport. I could take my anger out on the ball and not people. And on top of it all, no running. Very, very minimal running. One of the main reasons I'm really excited to be an official beautiful baller is because when I grew up, I really struggled with my self-esteem. Like, it took a long time for me to consider myself beautiful. I know you're thinking like, oh my God, like that's crazy. Like, how could you not think you were beautiful? So many things happened in my childhood where just really like picked at my self-esteem. And part of the reason I really struggled with my self-esteem because all the schools I went to were pretty much PWIs. In 7th grade, I moved back to San Antonio to live with my grandmother for a year. And I went to Alamo Middle School. Now that school really messed me up. When I first got there were cliques. Yes, like the high school movies. There were the popular kids, there were the athletes, there were the goths, there were the normals. I thought they were kidding when they were telling me about it. And plus, I was already feeling insecure. You know, I didn't look like these girls. I didn't talk like these girls. Like, the whole clique thing really stressed my out, bro. Like, I couldn't even join the athletes because volleyball tryouts had already passed and I wasn't able to make the team. So that was a no-go. Now I'm in 8th grade, I'm back on the volleyball team. Me and this other girl on the team got really close. Her name was Peyton. Everyone thought we were sisters, which was only because we were both tall, awkward, and light-skinned. Yeah, we got really close. We both went to different colleges, so we kind of grew apart, but don't forget about her because she will be reappearing. I ultimately attended 3 different high schools. Going into my freshman year of high school, I never really had like true friends, and so that's something that I was really searching for. I do believe that I dug myself into a little hole because I stopped wearing my hearing aids, and I do feel like that contributed to a lot of communication issues I was facing when starting relationships with other people. You know, people would think I'm ignoring them, and really I just didn't hear what you said. Like, I can't hear. Like, I would ask people to repeat themselves and they just get so annoyed for no reason. And then like they will repeat themselves in the same exact tone of voice until they're fed up and they start yelling at me. And I'm like, all you had to do is speak a little louder. The first time I asked you. Obviously they're annoyed because they're acting that way, but that annoys me because what do you want me to do? Well, obviously I could wear my hearing aids, but like, then you're gonna judge me. But now I don't care about that. I prefer to hear. Let me tell you, volleyball saved me. The only experience I had going into high school was playing on my middle school team and then a couple of random volleyball clinics at the college. At Lakewood, I tried out and I made the freshman team. I was a little disappointed because I was expecting to make not varsity. I was expecting to at least make JV and they put me on freshman. Now, our coach was hardcore. Like, let me tell you, like, he had us doing sand workouts, like 6 a.m. practices on the beach. We were practicing with the boys varsity volleyball team on their net. And if you don't know, a guy's net in volleyball is significantly higher than a girl's net. Ultimately, it worked because we were the best team in the state. Because, you know, we were winning, I was playing, and I wasn't playing middle. Obviously, you got to do what you got to do, but this was the first coach that actually believed I could play something other than middle. So, yeah. He just kind of like jump-started my love for the game. Sophomore year comes around, I made varsity this time, and they played me as a middle, which was expected. Our coach was crazy. Like, he was legit crazy. Like, he had anger issues. It was just annoying. Like, why are you throwing a tantrum right now? Why are you breaking your clipboard? Now, after my first varsity season, I went to a new club called T Street. Now, this is when volleyball started to get really good for me, and I really fell in love with it even more. Actually deciding between 3 clubs. It was Mizuno, T Street, and I can't remember the other one, but T Street was #1 in the state at the time. And so we went to their tryouts, and they wanted me on the 16-1s team, but they wanted me to play middle. So I played middle for that team. We ended up being like the #1 team in the state. We won like 3 gold medals, and we tied for 3rd in junior nationals. So that was a pretty good year. You know, my teammates, they were verbally committing to Oregon, San Diego, Penn State. So, you know, I was around some heavy hitters. From there, one of my teammates' moms, she suggested that we transfer to her school. Her school was Mater Dei. If you don't know about Mater Dei, which you probably don't, pretty much nationally ranked in every sport that they have. So it was a really good school, and we ended up transferring there on financial aid though, because, you know, tuition was a little hefty. And now this was like almost Alamo Heights 2.0, but like worse. Now the volleyball was great. We were ranked like 3rd in the nation or something, 5th or 3rd in the nation, something like that. We were ranked nationally. That's good enough on its own. So we ended up losing to our rival twice, once in conference, and oh my God, we went to the finals of the CIF championships.
Serving. Pass is solid to the middle again. Waiters has been deadly against Santa Margarita.
If I'm Mater Dei, I'm getting Kyla Waiters the ball as often as I can when she's in the front row.
Trying to take it one step further. If I'm Dan O'Dell, I'm telling Mater Dei, because he told us she had great success against Santa Margarita last time, but they, as you mentioned, just haven't gotten the ball to her enough.
It's about the passing. If you can pass well, you can run your middles.
Uh-oh. Ball coming over. Bodies everywhere. Birdie. And then outside again, McClure. Who's safe? The contortionist, Tuaniga. One-handed saves all around. 3 ball, time to breathe. Waiters again.
If somebody's listening, Kyla Waiters again in transition, but look at the scramble play from Santa Margarita, trying to keep it alive with their defense. Kyla Waiters up and hard, cutback swing for Mater Dei.
Holly, why is she so difficult to defend?
Well, she's dynamic and she gets up and explosive turns both ways.
Now, if you don't know how volleyball works, it's the best of 5. So you have to win 3 games out of 5. We both won 2 games. We're playing to 15. Santa Margarita has 14 points. We have 13 points. So next point win. Our coach is like, oh, set Kyla the ball. She'll put it away. We'll side out. We'll get these next 2 points. We'll win the CIF championship. And everyone's like, yeah, get Kyla the ball. And so she gives me the ball, right? And I hit it. It's a good hit, but my finger gets caught in the net. Like, my finger, like, literally taps the net. No one notices it. The net is not even moving. There's a little baby tap. And I was like, ain't no way the ref gonna call this on the CIF championship point. Like, you can't lose off of a net nobody even saw. Why that look at me like this? Game over. Oh my God, I was sick. I was sick to my stomach. Like, but I got over it, kind of. Yeah. Anyways, outside of volleyball, Mater Dei was a nightmare for me. These girls, I kid you not, were driving G-Wagons and Porsches. They had mansions for houses, $1,000 backpacks, and I was taking the bus to school. I actually took the bus 2 stops before the school so people wouldn't actually see me getting off the bus and walking to school. I didn't really get along with them that well. And I eventually found this group of black girls that seemed cool, so I started hanging out with them and eating lunch with them. But they were just like, they just had, you know, that stuck up attitude. Like, they just had that. Like, this one time I told this girl, one of the girls at the table, I was like, oh my gosh, like, you're one of the prettiest people I've ever seen. And she was like, thanks. And I was like, you're welcome. Like, so that kind of threw me off. And then there's this other girl who always had like some slick to say to me and was always trying to like find little ways to degrade me. So that didn't last very long. I think I hung out with them for maybe all of 2 weeks. Then I entered my Katie Heron era, where I started eating lunch by myself in empty classrooms. Good times. After season, I randomly bumped into Peyton again. Remember her from 8th grade? Yeah, she went to that school. I didn't know that. And so we ended up managing the boys volleyball team together. And it was fun. It made me feel a lot less alone while I was there. But ultimately, I still had a lot of anxiety about going back to that school. So I didn't. I convinced my mom to move us back to San Antonio. So we could be closer to family and just so I would not have to go back to that school. She saw how it was affecting my mental health, so she was on board, obviously. We looked up the best volleyball school in San Antonio, and Reagan High School came up. They were ranked, I think, 2nd in the nation at the time. We moved back to San Antonio with family. Now, at this point, I was used to being the new girl. I actually started to look forward to being the new girl because every time I was a new girl, it was a new chance to reinvent myself and to fix something that didn't work. I still had never been to a party before. I never had a sip of alcohol without my mother present. I never kissed a boy. I never really had friends. So I was determined to make myself hot and likable this year. Like my senior year, I was gonna go out with a bang. I started off on a good note. I got really close with the girls in the volleyball team. They were super sweet at first. I think it was an easier transition to this school because the volleyball girls there were already popular. So I was on the team. I was associated with the popular girls. So therefore I was popular, I guess. Yeah, volleyball was good for the most part. We won our preseason tournaments and we went undefeated like for the longest time. We lost twice that season though, and it was to the same team. Deja vu, right? So that happened. It was still a pretty fun year. As for friendships, the girls on the team were cool at first, like I said, and then they got weird. There was this one girl who tried to hook me up with her football player friend. And I started talking to him or whatever, snapping him, while I find out that her friend, our teammate, has a fat crush on him, is literally in love with him, and everybody knew it but me. So I'm like, you trying to pimp me out to your friend's man? Like, they ended up dating 2 weeks later. And I was like, that was a weird situation to put me in, and now I feel like I can't trust you anymore. But yeah, there was also another incident at homecoming. So I just distanced myself from there, especially after season, made it really easy. We were seniors, we didn't have to see each other again. I started getting really close with this one girl named Brianna. I actually met her through my teammate Angelina at the time. I have very mixed feelings about Angelina, and by mixed feelings, I mean I do not like her. She was rude and she always said the N-word and knew it made me uncomfortable. But I'm not going to say too much about her because she died like a couple weeks ago, so R.I.P. But anyways, me and V&A got really close. We got super close. Literally everyone thought we were dating. She was the first best friend that I had that really considered me their best friend as well. Like, she contributed to a lot of the confidence that I had going into my freshman year of college because it's like, wow, I am likable and I'm not a total loser. After season was over, I really had to lock in and figure out where I was going to college. I was one of the last uncommitted seniors, so that was really stressful for me at that time. All my old teammates were committed places like USC, Penn State, Kansas, and I was feeling left out. So I was talking to a few schools. I was getting recruited by Virginia Tech, Clemson, LMU, Santa Clara, and a few others, but Howard was my #1 choice at the time. I just really wanted a sisterhood-like experience with real sisters, if you know what I mean. So I was really looking at Howard, but they were just taking too slow, and Oregon State eventually reached out to me and was like, we'd like to take you on a visit. And I'm like, Oregon freaking State, packed well, don't mind if I do. So I went on the visit, fell in love with the campus, fell in love with the people. I really liked just how much of a college town it was. I ended up verbally committing there like end of February. It was like 3 days after my official visit. Me and Oregon State, we both had a mutual understanding that this was a position I had never played before and that I was gonna get training in. I wasn't gonna come in there, you know, balls to the wall going crazy, because the transition from going from a middle position to an outside position is like a really hard transition, especially at the D1 level. So we both had a mutual understanding that that was just something that I was gonna have to work on. My club coach at the time agreed to work with me on the outside, but when I actually started playing for the team, he would not let me leave the middle. So you told me that you were going to train me on the outside and you're not doing that. And so I ended up leaving that team and I outsourced a private coach to help me on the outside in preparation for my first collegiate volleyball season. That's all I have for this video. So in my next video, I will be talking about the horror story that was my freshman year at Oregon State. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the first part of this series. If you're interested to know what happens next, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the video down below. Bye. Hi guys. So I had a couple